Hey everyone, how are you doing? Mike the handy homeowner here. Today we're doing a couple videos about ice dams and what they are and how to prevent them, how to remedy that problem with your home. And one of the things for doing that are these roof and gutter de-icing kits. So in another video I talked a little bit about the ice dams that we have at this home. Is 85 years old. It had a sealed attic, and I'm working on a few things to help us not have ice dams at all. Unfortunately, with the setup of this particular home, this one corner has a closet in the one corner, and that closet goes directly up like this. It includes that window, and it's right up to the roof line. So I will never not have ice dams at this house, on this corner of the house, because I can't get the cool air from outside into the home under that roof to keep the ice dams from forming. Because what will happen is the warm roof melts the snow a little bit, and it comes down and refreezes as it gets off of the roof to where there's nothing under it, this little last three feet or so. What happens is the water melts, the snow melts, it drains down and then refreezes as it gets onto that cooler part of the roof at the end. As it refreezes, it keeps building up and creates an ice dam. Makes a lot of pretty icicles, but also potentially causing lots of damage. So you don't want that. So one of the things I'm doing to remedy that is I thought I would try these de-icing cables, and as you can see, they're working. I've got them plugged in from the snow that we were getting last night, and I had changed how these were set up. You'll see on the box, and you're supposed to be up and down and up and down, so I've got that going on, but I wanted to run it down into the gutter more. What I was finding was that these things were working to melt the snow up on the roof, which was great. I was getting the same effect you're seeing there, okay, which all that is supposed to do, and what it does do, is give a path for the water that's melting from up there to a path to get out. But what was happening was that it was getting to the gutter and then refreezing in the gutter, and I ended up with a gutter full of ice anyway. And then that started building up as an ice dam on the edge of the home. So as good as it was and as much as it was helping, it still didn't completely solve the problem. So I went ahead and rerouted these things and then left enough at the end that I could run it through the gutter, over and back, and then down through the downspout. So let's talk about these things. They've got their pros and they've got their cons for sure. One of the big cons of these things is that you got to put them up on the roof. So that means you're getting on a ladder or hiring someone to. Well, let's just talk about, you being a handy homeowner yourself, right? You're going to get up on your ladder and then, finagle these cables up and down along the edge of your eave so that you don't, have the ice dam forming. Well, that in itself potentially dangerous. Here's another couple things I don't like about these. One is this clip. So this clip, you can see, has a couple prongs on the bottom piece here, and the shingle goes in between those two metal pieces, and these prongs on the bottom kind of grab onto the shingle. Okay, then you put the wire through this portion, and then this is just soft aluminum, so it just squeezes back down and holds the wire in place. Okay, that's how the wires are up there hanging onto those shingles. We just got a new roof a year ago, and those clips are snagging the underside of the shingles, guys. Well, if you're not careful, I could very easily see you tearing off a piece of shingle, when you're either installing or removing these at the end of the season. And that's not cool. I actually not happy about that at all. And that's one of the major drawbacks that I find to these things, besides having to get on a ladder and get up there to use them in the first place. If you look for another video I'm going to make here about a roof rake and using that instead of these ice cables, where you scrape off most of the snow, or as much as you can reach, literally is what it comes down to. Scrape off most of that snow as far up as you can reach, and that will prevent the ice dam, because there isn't snow up there to melt. So maybe a combination of both would be good. But anyway, watch for that video. I'll talk about that roof rake a little bit better. Okay, so with these roof cables, of course, it came in a box. They came with instructions, and you have these clips that I just told you about. And then they have these little, well, these are also a form of a clip, I suppose we'll say. And what this is for is to hold the wires from touching themselves. So if you look on the box here, you can see this clip is holding that corner piece of the wire where it bends from, you know, it can't get away from the one that's running through the gutter. They're clipped together with this. Definitely not hard to use. But you gotta get up there with 60 or 100 feet of wire, depending on how much of the cable you bought. I bought 60-foot pieces, and I'll be honest, when you're up there on a ladder trying to install these things, well, you've got all that cable laying around that you're trying to finagle up where you want it and clip it in, and you know, it's got some weight to it, so it's kind of fighting you along the way. You know, when you're up on a ladder, you know, you don't want that. So another drawback to these things is that they use electricity. I believe these 60-footers use 300 watts. That's, you know, a little significant, I would say. See, the 100-foot cable length was a 500 watt. The 60-foot was a 300 watt. And I think the 30-foot was 100 watts of power. So definitely going to add to your electricity bill. Maybe it's not something you're concerned about. You know, if it's the best option for you, it's the best option for you, but that's something you need to know. So now you know. If you don't have outlets on the outside of your home, well, using these de-icing cables may not really be an option for you. So this particular set of ice cables from Frost King came with a nice set of instructions, and let's get to the English side. And they were actually really good instructions. They talked about all the different things that I've kind of mentioned, as far as how they get set up, how they get turned on, how to use them, and you know, how to connect them. But the instructions were at least really good, and that helped a lot, because you know, you don't want to buy it and then you don't know how to use it, you know. So the benefit is that they do work to prevent ice dams in general. Like I said, I did have a problem where the water was freezing in the gutter and then eventually building up as an ice dam as well. So I made sure to run more cable in the gutter and then out the downspout so that wouldn't happen. And so far that's worked well these last couple months of winter. I did have a chance in midwinter to change that, and that's when I did it. So far so good there. Well, that's a little bit of insight into these de-icing cables to help prevent ice dams from forming on your home. You know, like I said, those icicles, they're pretty and they look cool, but that's when you see those, you know, you might have problems coming real soon. So like I said before, check out the other videos I have on talking about the ice dams and what causes them and how to really stop them from ever forming. But if you need to use these ice cables, you know, hopefully this video helps you out with deciding what to do about that. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.